Hello everyone, with us today we have Anindita, and Anindita takes pride in calling herself a travel blogger. Like, why did we choose Anindita? So I was again scrolling through her profile, and it absolutely amazed me how people balance their lives so well. I am not that great at time management myself, so I thought, why not ask her how does she do it? So she was previously a chief marketing officer at a firm in Mumbai, and in November 2020, as she had mentioned it to me, she left the job to pursue her passion of traveling, which is very, very, very courageous thing to do. And hats off to taking such a drastic step and being very self-aware of what you want in life. Very few people have that kind of direction, Anandita. My first question to you is, how do you plan your travel so well? Like everyone loves traveling, but I feel like we do not schedule or plan it too well. So how do you go about that?
So, like I always keep telling everyone, when you are passionate about something, you always figure out, you always find a way. You just have to be passionate enough. And then I think everything else falls in place. You just have to have the determination to do what you want to do. That's what is most important in life. And once you have that, then I think everything else gets automatically figured out. But as far as I am concerned, of course, because I had a full-time job and I love traveling, it's not that I was just a travel blogger. So obviously everything required a lot of planning. So for me, for example, at the beginning of any year, I would know where and all I'm going to travel. So I would know well in advance where I'm going for the rest of the year. On the first day of the year, I would sit with my public holiday calendar, chalk out all the long weekends, figure out where I can go, where I can maybe add some more holidays, some more leaves, and make it like a 1 week. If it's a long weekend, so for example, if Monday is holy, I would add 2 more days, Tuesday and Wednesday, and make it like a 5 days break and go somewhere. So entire year would be planned out really well. And again, once you have the entire year planned out, it becomes very easy because then you ensure that obviously you have to be responsible. You let your peers, your team member, your boss know in advance where you're going, when you're going, and ensure that you don't plan your travels in the middle of any important product launch or campaign, etc. And then, of course, it's all about booking your tickets well in advance because the moment you have already made your plans and you know where you're going, then it becomes easy because, I always see that whenever I travel, tickets is the most expensive, right? Tickets is the most biggest chunk of our travel spend. So if you can book your tickets in advance, then you've taken care of the biggest expenditure. And then, of course, everything else can be planned closer to time. So I think the key is planning, planning, planning.
Everyone around me is getting married. So looking at the COVID that is going on, the pandemic and everything, what do you feel is the safest and good honeymoon destinations people can take?
I would give you some destinations in India as well as out of India.
Oh, sure.
So I would say in India, one of my favorites, and I think it's a great honeymoon location as well, is the Andaman Nicobar Islands. They are just beautiful. I mean, you can't believe that you have such amazing islands in India as well. The sea is as blue as the Mediterranean. The underwater world is mind blowing in Andaman. So, I always think that when people are going for a honeymoon, obviously, it's you want to make it really memorable and the best holiday of your life. So why not also throw in some adventure sports, do something together, which helps you bond more, right? So I think Andaman is perfect because it's very romantic. There are great beaches and there are great places to go to. The food is like so delicious. And at the same time, you can also indulge in some scuba diving and some water sports. And for scuba diving, you don't really need to be a good swimmer. You don't need to know how to swim at all if you're doing the discovery scuba dive. So, and even if you're scared of water, it doesn't matter because you have someone going in with you. So and it's amazing. It's about, both of you together pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and doing something you've probably never done before. So I think Andaman is like the perfect choice. It has a perfect blend of romance, of adventure. It has really good food, like I said, very good hotels, very good accommodations. So Andaman would be my first choice when it comes to honeymoon destination in India. Out of India, I would, there are so many places actually, but of course, places like Greece and all are, everyone goes to Greece now. But I would say Iceland, because Iceland is one of my favorite countries and it is beautiful. You see things you've never ever seen in your life before. So I think Iceland would be perfect. It is romantic, again, lots and lots of adventure. Whatever you have read in your geography books, be it a geyser, a volcano eruption, trekking on glaciers, going into ice caves, you have all of that in Iceland. So yeah, I mean, I think Iceland would be my favorite destination for a honeymoon. Iceland is just not like any other country that you have on the world map. Trust me, it's totally a different planet. The topography of that country is so unique, is so different. So I was in Iceland for almost 6 days, and way back, this was in 2014. Okay. And that time, not too many people used to go to Iceland. You know, it was only after that Shah Rukh Khan's Gerua song that everybody started going to Iceland. But Iceland wasn't that explored when I had gone there. So it was amazing. Like, you know, like I said, I saw a geyser erupting. I walked on glaciers. I saw majestic, gorgeous waterfalls. There is a black beach. There is a diamond beach. You can watch the northern lights. You can watch the midnight sun. So it depends on which time of the year you go. So I went in June and I was there on the 21st of June, which is the longest day of the year. And there's no darkness because there's 24 hours of daylight. The sun sets and again rises in an hour and a half. So there's only dusk at that time of the year. So I did not get to see the northern lights because I went in summer, but I saw the midnight sun. I saw the sun setting at 2 a.m. So it's amazing. Like I said, I saw things that I have never seen anywhere else. So that's why Iceland is extremely, extremely special.
I think there are a lot of people who have not explored their own country as much as they, you know, they have this thing, I'm going outside India, I'm going to travel international, I'm going abroad. I want you to name specific cities in East India, West India, North India, South India, and Central India, which you think people should explore.
Obviously, India is a beautiful country. It's a gorgeous country. Like, I totally love India. Despite being to 67 countries and having eaten all over the world, I think nothing beats Indian food. While, of course, when I go abroad, I never eat Indian food because over there, I'll always want to have the local food. But then when I am here, I love my Bengali food. More than anything else, I love the Bengali food that I've grown up eating. And I think nothing comes even close to Bengali food. So that's why now if I have to pick up cities, and like I said, there's so much to see in India. Like even in Bombay, you know, I have lived in Bombay for the last 15 years now. I still feel I haven't explored the city enough. There's so much more to see. So forget India. There is just so much in our very own neighborhood that we haven't explored. So despite the pandemic, despite COVID, you don't really have to go abroad. You know, like, of course, if you can, great. If you can travel safely, great. But otherwise, there's just so much to see here. Even the weekend getaways around Mumbai are absolutely awesome. So anyway, coming back to your answer, I will pick up a city from East India first. And I can't think of any better city than Calcutta. So, of course, Kolkata has so much heritage, so much culture. So I feel Kolkata is definitely one place, if people haven't visited, they must go. If nothing else, then for the food. It's like a gastronomic delight. A city in West India, I would pick up Goa. Okay. Because Goa, again, is my favorite. Like, you know, Goa is a place I have to go to every year. And of course, everyone loves going to Goa. But I think it's not just about the parties or the nightlife, etc. Anyways, that's something you should stay away from during these times. But you know, Goa has so many unexplored beaches. Goa has so many forests, so many lakes that we didn't even know about, so many waterfalls. In South India, I would say, so not Cochin, of course, go to Cochin and then explore the places around. So there are lots of beautiful places around Cochin in Kerala. So of course, Kerala has so much to explore, right? There is the backwaters, there is the hill station, and then of course, if you get a good weather, then Kerala is one of the best places to be. There are the beaches. There are few properties. I remember in Kerala, I had gone to this place in Trivandrum. Actually, I had gone to Kovalam. And I think Kovalam was so beautiful. The beaches were so clean. And I stayed at the Leela property there, which is actually not very expensive because, and especially now they totally slashed down their rates. And that was one of the best hilltop beach properties I have stayed at in India. So yeah, so Kerala has a lot to offer. So which is why I would pick up Cochin. Okay, then North India. North India, I would say Srinagar. Srinagar is beautiful. Of course, I'm going way up north, but yeah, I mean, I can't think of any better place in north. I would actually say Leh because even Leh is great, but again, getting to Leh is a little difficult. There are direct flights now, but when you're in Ladakh, there are very long road trips. There are long road journeys. I don't know whether everybody will be able to do that. But if you are the kind of person who can take road trips, then definitely Leh. Because when it comes to hill stations, Leh is my absolute favorite. So you spend like 10 days in Ladakh if possible. And there is just so much to see in Ladakh. And of course, if, again, Ladakh, you have to be used to that altitude. You have to acclimatize yourself the first day. And you have to, I mean, it's not meant for elderly people. Like I would not take my parents to Ladakh because I feel they would have breathing issues because they do have, obviously old age, they're 70 plus, and I would probably take my parents there. So, but yeah, but then for people who are a little elderly, Kashmir is perfect because Srinagar is great, Pahalgaon, there is Gulmarg. Gulmarg is just so beautiful. I mean, a lot of Indians go all the way to Europe to see good snowfall, but it's so amazing. Like right now, you would have seen a lot of people are in Kashmir, right? Because I think entire December, Jan, even November, I had so many people on Instagram in Kashmir, and it was amazing. The kind of pictures I saw, like, I want to go to Kashmir now. So I'm actually planning a trip to Gulmarg end of Feb, where I want to go just to learn skiing.
Could you tell us the scariest moment you experienced while trying something new on a trip?
There have been plenty of moments like these because whenever I plan a trip, I always ensure that I push myself out of my comfort zone and I do something I've never done before. So it's always been very scary. Whenever you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, it is going to be scary. That's why you're doing it. So every country that I go to, I have such moments, but I'll pick up two in particular. One is Maldives. So I just went to Maldives in November and I had gone and stayed at Taj Exotica, which was a brand collaboration with Travel Chatter. After that, I spent 9 days becoming an open water diver. So when you become an open water diver, you are certified to dive up to 60 feet below the ocean surface. Okay. So people who aren't scared of water, it's not scary for them, right? It doesn't really matter. Now, while I have been a good swimmer all my life, but I have been comfortable to swim in a swimming pool. You make me swim in a very deep swimming pool, I am absolutely fine as long as I can see the bottom. But I have always, all my life, been scared of the deep ocean. I am a total beach girl. I love beaches. I can go swimming in the sea, but in shallow water. I have always been scared to go swimming in deep ocean, right? Deep ocean where there are currents and there are high waves, etc. Now imagine a person who's scared of the deep ocean being asked to jump into the ocean, which looks like a bottomless pit when you jump in. So the first day was so scary. I still have a video which I've put up on Instagram where I'm standing at the edge of the boat, and this was our first open water dive. So after you have 5 confined water dive sessions where you taught all your skills, you then go for your open water dive. But the first open water dive is very scary because you're at the edge of the boat and your instructor just asks you to jump. All that you can see is the deep blue sea. You have no idea how deep it is, but the moment you jump, you know it, you won't be able to see the bottom, right? So for you, it's like a bottomless pit. It was so scary, that first step, that jump was the scariest thing. I was holding onto the boat and I just could not jump. And here my instructor is screaming. He's like, okay, the current is really strong and the tide is coming in. The boat is turning, jump, otherwise you won't be able to jump. And my God, I could feel my heart racing. But then, yes, I finally did jump. And by now, obviously, by the end of my open water dive session, I have obviously aced the jump right now. But the first jump was really scary. The second would be when I was in Costa Rica. I was in Costa Rica last year. So I brought in 2020 New Year's in Costa Rica. And there was this adventure sport that we had tied up with this agency called Desafio Adventures, and it's called the Gravity Fall. So what they do is they take you into a rainforest in Costa Rica, and they take you to cliff tops, and from there you jump into roaring waterfalls. Now, while of course I had read all about it, I knew what and all they do. Obviously, I was quite scared, but that's exactly why I wanted to do it. So I remember the first thing that we had to do after they had briefed us, these dense, thick rainforest of Costa Rica, and you drive into the rainforest, and then they take you to a hill, like you have to trek up a hill, and there is this really strong roaring waterfall next to you. It's a 150 feet high cliff. You have to rappel down that cliff with the waterfall right next to you. So you can hear, feel, see the force of the waterfall, and you're rappelling down. So the rappelling down itself was very scary. However, I was doing it. We were a group of maybe 7 to 8 of us. I was the fourth one. So rappelling is fine. That it's not that scary. But the scariest part was, it's a 150 feet high cliff. When you are at around, say, 70, 75 feet, halfway there, you let go of the rope, and it's a free fall backward jump into the waterfall below. Now that was really scary, So while I was hanging in midair and holding on to my rope, and they kept screaming, okay, now jump, let go, let go, let go. And I had to let go of the rope and fall flat. And you can't even see it. It's a backward fall, right? You can't even see, just fall flat into the roaring waterfall. Now that was super scary. So when they were saying let go, I was, why the hell did I sign up for this? Why am I doing this? But then when I did let go and I fell, I think it was the jump of a lifetime. So yeah, these two would be two of the scariest things that I can think of right now. Of course, there are a lot more, but we'll probably require another session for that.
Okay. So our favorite and most recommended beach and mountain location in the world.
Okay, so my favorite beach location would be Portugal. That's my favorite beach place in the world. I don't think it gets better than Portugal. My favorite mountain location would be Norway. Norway is very, very pretty. A lot of people want to go to Switzerland and Austria, but I would say if you want to see something offbeat, then go to Norway instead of Switzerland. It's beautiful.
Okay. But do you think there are places which go unexplored because they are very, very underrated?
Yeah, one of the most underrated places I have been to was Jordan. I went to Jordan long back, maybe 7, 8 years back. And when I was going to Jordan, a lot of people dissuaded me from going there. They were like, how can you go to Jordan? It's an unsafe place, but it actually isn't. It's one of the most peaceful countries. People think Jordan is unsafe because of its location. It's right in the center of Iraq, Iran, and Syria. And that's why people assume it's unsafe. But Jordan is amongst my top 5 favorite countries. It is so beautiful. And I actually took my parents there, and I'm really happy about it because Petra is, again, absolutely stunning. There's this desert in Jordan called Wadi Rum, which actually feels like Mars. You feel like you've landed on planet Mars. Another offbeat place I have been to was in the jungles of Uganda. Now, not too many people go to Uganda and Rwanda for their holidays in Africa, right? I went to the jungles of Uganda to meet mountain gorillas, and it was, again, one of my best trips, one of my best experiences. We were in the jungles of Uganda in Bivindi National Park, and we had to trek up for almost 2.5 to 3 hours up a rainforest. And if you're lucky, you get to see one mountain gorilla. We saw 7 mountain gorillas, including a baby gorilla who actually came up to me and played with my shoelaces and looked at me into my eyes. Now, that is a moment I will remember for a lifetime. It was this trip of mine to Uganda that actually inspired me to start Travel Chatter. So it was on the way back from that jungle to my hotel, which was almost like a 2 hours drive, is when I started writing my very first blog. Because I was like, this is amazing. And this was in 2016. And I was like, I really ought to start sharing my travel stories with the rest of the world. And I needed a platform. So I was like, why don't I start my own website? Of course, by then I wasn't even on Instagram. Instagram happened a lot later, but Uganda was my very first article that I wrote.
We are going to play Never Have I Ever with Anindita. In this, I will be making a statement, and if Anindita has done it, she's going to take a sip of what she has in her glass.
No, I have this for that.
Okay. So, what is that, Anindita?
This is a beetroot, apple, carrot, ginger juice. Healthy juice.
Okay, so if she's done it, she's going to take a sip of it. And if she has not done it, well, she won't take a sip of it. So let's begin. And you have to be very spontaneous about it. And
I don't have to say anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. So, never have I ever slept at an airport terminal. Okay. You've traveled so much. You've never missed a flight. You've never, I don't know, postponed a flight. You've never missed a flight in your entire life.
I have never missed a flight. Never missed a flight. Yeah, the flight could have gotten cancelled, but I've never missed a flight.
Okay, that's...
Oh, and in fact, to that, I must tell you this. The most terrible experience I've had with flights was I was in Belgium and I was flying back to India and I reached the airport 40 minutes before my takeoff. And I almost cried at the check-in counter to let me check in because they had shut the check-in and they were like, there's no way we're going to take your luggage and you're too late and you can't come at 1:30 when your flight is at 2:30. But I had missed the local train. There's some issue with the local trains, which is why I was late to the airport. But I managed to convince them and they let me board the flight. I ran like a maniac. I still remember. I don't think I've ever had such a time in the airport ever before, but I still made it to the flight. I was lucky.
That's amazing. I was really hoping that you'll be like, okay, there must have been one time when you missed a bus or a train or something and then you have to reschedule.
I missed a ferry. I have missed a ferry in Greece, but I've never missed a flight.
Okay.
Flight is too much money. I won't miss a flight.
Okay. Never have I ever stayed away longer than I planned. Okay, so which was this fortunate place, Anindita, if we are allowed to know?
Oh, so many places. Recent trip to Goa. I was in Goa in October, right? Like I was studying in September and October, and it was magical. So it was a solo trip, and I was there for 14 days almost, and I was coming back on this 14th day, and I had my flight booked, and I'm on the way to the airport. I booked my cab and I'm on the way to the airport and I'm telling myself that just one more sunset. I wish I could stay for one more sunset because in October, those 2 weeks that I was there for 1 week, it was raining and I'm crazy about sunsets. So for 1 week, I didn't even get to see a sunset. So I obviously felt I haven't watched enough sunsets and I wanted to stay back for a few more and nothing. I just wanted to go and sit on that hilltop, my favorite place, read a book and watch the sunset. And before checking out of the hotel, my cab is waiting. I just happened to ask the lady at the check-in counter that, how's the occupancy? Are you full? She said, oh yes, we are totally sold out from today. I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, I got into the car and I started going to the airport. And I kept on, that is something, the voice inside me kept saying, just one more sunset, one more sunset. And I don't know what happened. I asked the driver to park the car. I called up Indigo and I told myself that I will stay back only if Indigo doesn't charge me a rescheduling fee. And it's impossible. We all know Indigo charges 3,000 rupees just for rescheduling and difference of fare is extra. So I'm like, I'm not the kind of person who ever wastes money, right? So I was like, no, I'm only going to stay back if they don't charge me anything. And I don't know how, but I convinced the guy. It took me almost 10 minutes, but I convinced the guy to not charge me any rescheduling fee. And he was like, okay, I'll talk to my senior and let you know. And then he lets me know after a few minutes that this is the only one time as an exceptional case, we are not charging you anything and we'll put you on tomorrow's flight. I was like, wow. I don't know, okay, don't put me on tomorrow's flight, put me on day after tomorrow's flight. So I stayed back 2 days extra. My car took a U-turn. We came back to the hotel. Of course, I paid the driver off. Now I was like hoping, now how would I stay in that hotel, right? Because it's sold out. I go back to the hotel and the lady at the reception tells me, this is a miracle. Nobody has ever come back to our hotel after leaving the hotel, check out करके कोई वापस नहीं आया है. You've come back. The hotel was sold out. The person who had booked your room has just cancelled his stay.
Oh.
I was like, no way. Like, I get goosebumps when I say this. It's a very small thing, but it actually happened. I go back, checked into my same room, left my luggage, and ran to watch the most stunning sunset I have ever watched in Goa.
Okay. So never have I ever taken shampoos and soap from a hotel. Okay, I think we're all guilty of that.
Yeah, and not that I take it, I tell them when I take it. Like when I go and stay in Taj, I love that Forest Essentials shampoo and body wash or any other brand. I actually, before leaving, I tell the housekeeping, please give me some, not shampoos, I love their soaps. So I actually call them and tell them, please give me some soaps. They'll happily come and give me like 10 soaps. I'm like, itna nahi chahiye. I'll just take a few.
So never have I ever went to a completely new city and tried whatever I got in a local shop and ended up with a bad stomach. Which place is this?
Japan. Oh my God. I remember just before I was leaving Tokyo, I was in Japan for almost 10 days. And just before I was leaving Tokyo, I had my flight. I went to a local restaurant. I ate whatever they gave me. I was really, like, I felt I'm going to die in the flight. It was so bad. I had a very bad stomach upset. And I went mad. Like, I remember I was so sick in the flight because of all that I had eaten. And obviously something didn't suit me, right? And I kept, like, I have never puked so much in my life in a flight. I was pretty much sitting in their bathroom. And so I had a stomach upset, loose motions, as well as I was vomiting. It was the worst flight ever. Like, I couldn't wait to land. My blood pressure fell. I was lying down on the seat. They had to make an announcement for a doctor in the flight to come and attend to me. It was a very, very bad scene. So yeah. Yeah.
Never have I ever lost my luggage. Come on, Anindita, you're not supposed to take so much time. Okay.
No, so I was thinking of the incident and trying to figure out, can I classify it as lost the luggage? So my luggage was stolen, but it was only for a few seconds. I got it back. So I was trying to figure out, can I categorize it into this?
Okay, so someone took it by mistake and then returned it back to you. Is it that?
He robbed my luggage. I was boarding a train in Madrid and I was going to the airport to take a flight to Moscow. And I boarded the train and I had my backpack, my chotu backpack, which had all my currency, credit card, everything, that I put in my bigger backpack because I was entering the train. So I was like, let me put it inside my backpack, which is zipped. And I don't want to put it behind me because somebody can take it, right? So I put it there and I boarded the train. As soon as I board the train, I put my bag and I see that somebody, in that fraction of a second, somebody's opened the zip, taken the bag out and ran away. And that bag had my passport, my currency, my credit card, everything. So it was like really, really scary because the train was just about to leave and the train door would shut. So either I leave the rest of my luggage in the train and the train goes off to the airport and I run out after the guy who's taken my bag and ran away, or I let go of my passport, my currency and stay in the train. So you just have a few seconds, right? And your brain doesn't operate and you're stressed at that time. But I went to the door and I shouted that he's taken my bag. And I still remember the platform was empty. Obviously, everybody had boarded the train. So the guy got scared because I shouted. He dropped my bag and he ran away. So then I ran out, got hold of my bag and came back to the train. But it was very risky because while I get off the train to get my bag, the train door could have shut and the train goes away. But luckily, that didn't happen. And I managed to get into the train back with my bag. But I was so shocked because it was my first proper solo trip. And I was really scared because if I would lose my passport, I would be stranded there for God knows how long.
That's true.
So, yeah. That's why I took a while. I was thinking, can I categorize it to this?
Okay. Never have I ever not showered for the entire trip.
Entire trip?
No.
Please. Maybe one day I have it if it's a very cold place, but not entire trip.
Okay. So the last question, never have I ever gotten lost in a taxi bus at night with a driver that speaks very little English with no idea where your house is. No.
I would say I was lost. So this has happened when I was in Argentina, and I had booked an Uber to go to the airport. And it was quite scary because it was at 3:30 in the morning. And when I came down from my Airbnb to get into the Uber, I was very scared because the driver told me to keep my luggage at the back and sit in the front. I was like, why should I sit in the front? Like, nobody ever does that. In Uber, you go sit in the back. He was, and you don't understand, I couldn't understand his language, what he was saying, but he kept signaling, come in the front, and he was very rude. So I was like, why is he saying that? So anyway, then I did sit in the front, but I was quite scared. I was like, why? And it was quite deserted and I had to go to the airport. So I kept my Google Maps on to ensure that he's taking the route to the airport and he's not going anywhere else, because when you're traveling solo, you have to be really, really safe. And if I could have let go of that Uber and booked another one, but I would then miss my flight because I had to get to the airport at a time. So I kept my Google Maps on. I called up my boyfriend who was in India, and I was talking to him and ensuring that he knows at all times. Luckily, it was daytime in India. So I kept talking to him to ensure that he knows where I am and what I'm doing. So he spoke to me till I reached the airport. So that was a good thing. So another advice when you're traveling solo, definitely take a local SIM. That really helps.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was lovely, lovely having you on board. And I myself have gotten so many amazing travel destinations now that I can plan a trip to. I will definitely contact you for help.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It was great and I really, really enjoyed it. Especially the Never Have I Ever section was good fun.
Thank you so much, Anindita. It was lovely having you on board.
Thank you, Daksha. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.